Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Drum Machine Designer in Logic Pro X. So the Drum Machine Designer is basically actually just a pretty face for Ultrabeat, alright? So it's an instrument here, so we'll create a new track from scratch. So if you just press Add Software Instrument, and you can't actually select the Drum Machine Designer from it here, so we'll just click Default Patch, or actually Empty Channel Strip, press Create, and then come over to Instrument, scroll down until you get to Drum Machine Designer in its own little segment down here. So now we've opened up an instance of Drum Machine Designer. You can see that this is the big room kit, so you can play a few sounds. So there are all sorts of different cool sounds and effects that come with the Drum Machine Designer, and I have to say that the prefix that come with it are actually really good quality, and I think that you'll be likely to want to use them in your songs. So the reason Drum Machine Designer is so useful is that it helps you mix your drums, and it's really just a great way of organizing your drum sounds because it's got all these things hooked up already for you. For example, there are submixes that are already configured, and there are heaps of really good preset kits that you can use, and you can also create your own custom kits. So first, let's just click through a few of the kits to get an idea of how they sound. So I'll come over to this simple beat that I've put in. And so you can customize each sound in your drum machine. For example, if we want, we can change this hi-hat sound that we're using. So it's really easy to customize each drum voice individually. So there are basically two main views in Drum Machine Designer. This right now, once you click on a pad, is called the pad view. And what you can do to get back to the default view is to click the icon and title up here in the title bar. And this is the view for the overall kit. And this is where you can adjust the mix of each submix for your kit. So you can see there's a submix for all the kick sounds, a submix for all the snares and claps, a submix for all the hi-hats, and so on. And you've also got some effect controls, as you can see here. So pressing these lights will simply turn a submix on or off, or turn an effect on or off. And you'll also notice that there's a MIDI note for each pad. So here where it says D1, that means that if you want to play it in on your MIDI keyboard, that's the corresponding note. And it's likely that there'll be empty pads for every drum kit in Drum Machine Designer. And if you want to add a sound to here, all you have to do is click on it, and it will say that you can choose a kit piece patch in the library or drag an audio sample to the cell. So you can basically create your own sample by dragging an audio file here to this cell. I'm not going to go into that in depth, but that's something you can look into and just experiment with. But you've also got all these preset sounds here. So right now I'm in the percussion sound. Let's say I might want a cymbal, like a crash cymbal. I can just pick a crash. And you've also got a mute and solo button for each individual drum voice as well. So now that we've had an overview of how the Drum Machine Designer window works, I'm going to show you how these tracks are mixed and how all the signal flow is basically set up. So at the moment, we can see that all of the drum machine is just setting to one big stereo channel, right? So all of your sounds are being routed to this final stereo channel, and this is your final result. But what you can actually do is mix each sound separately. So if we open up the mixer, right now it's just one big track stack. But if we press this disclosure triangle here, then now we can see all of our sounds are actually here individually, but they're just hidden under the hood when you see it in this one big track in the arrangement window. So now you're free to mix each voice separately. You've got full control over all the plugins placed on the voice. And as I was saying, it's all built on Ultrabeat, and you can see that the Ultrabeat outputs here are routed to each of these tracks. And one of the best features about the Drum Machine Designer is that it already has submixes set up for you. So if we scroll over to the right past all the individual sounds in our kit in the mixer, you can see that there's these buses here. So the kick bus will have all of the individual kick sounds routed to it, and the snare bus will have all of your snare sounds grouped together, and so on. So that's really handy when it's something that you would usually have to do yourself to set up those submixes for your drums. And continuing on with that, it already has a delay and reverb send set up as well. So if you look in the sends here for these buses, the first one will be the delay send and the second one will be reverb. So now you can mix your drum voices individually, but you might want to arrange them individually as well. So there's an easy way to do this. Right now you can see it's all just in one big MIDI track, every sound from the kit. If you want to separate them, then you can right hand click on the MIDI region, come down to MIDI, and then click separate by note pitch. And this will now introduce another disclosure triangle, and you can actually access each individual sound for itself. Another way that you can arrange your tracks individually is to come into the Drum Machine Designer window, select a track, and then right click and press Create Track. And this will create its own MIDI track in the Arrange window. So if you now create a separate MIDI region for this, you'll be able to do that as well. And another advantage of using Drum Machine Designer is that in the piano roll, all of your sounds already have a corresponding name. So when you're programming drum patterns in using the piano roll, you can quickly identify what each sound is as you draw it. Just make sure that you're vertically zoomed in enough so that these are actually shown. So there you go, I hope you found this tutorial useful. There's a lot more to learn about Drum Machine Designer. For instance, you can still create your own custom kits, you can customize all these effects and everything, so there's definitely a lot to learn. But I hope that you found this tutorial useful and that it helps you out with some of your production. So thanks again very much for watching. You can subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. I'm trying to make them regularly, and I'll see you guys later.
Another day I'm seeing daylight. No sleep, I gotta break night. Sometimes I go and break mics.